What's up, everybody? Steven Z Killer here. Today I'm bringing you a brand new reaction. I hope you guys enjoy, but before we get into that, 77% of you guys are not subscribed. Now there's two reasons for that. You're either new or you're returning, and hopefully today you change that. With that in mind, you hit that subscribe button and join this community. Now, let's get into the video. It's that time again for some more game theory. Now today we're checking out some more theories based off the game Poppy Playtime. I'm really happy about this. Because we have been enjoying Project Playtime, so I'm wondering if things are going to be dissected from both Poppy Playtime and Project Playtime now, with both the Project Playtime game now out and everything. So I'm looking forward to this game theory. If you have more suggestions, please comment down below. I know I'm late on uploads today, and I do apologize, but it's still going to be a good upload because we're checking out game theory. Now, if you guys aren't aware, I did still upload a awesome YouTube short. You should definitely check that out, or check it out on TikTok, which a lot of you guys still don't know. I actually opened up a TikTok because every time I make a YouTube short, I'll also be posting it there. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that stuff, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and join the Discord. One last thing, we are really close to 195,000 subscribers. At this point, with only a few days left of the year, I don't think we're hitting the goal of 200K. But you know what? Next best thing is literally 195. So let's do it in the next 3 days. We got this. I know we can. There's plenty of you out there who haven't hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into this game theory.
We are a failed breed, created against our will, only to labor on their terms. Slaves given life by others, only to have none of our own. And now they try to make more of us? No! Get up! Go! Stop them! Feed your hunger! Slake your thirst! If we can be born on their terms, they can die on ours!
Hello, Internet!
Okay, so this might actually have what I thought. This might have some stuff that involves, one, Poppy Playtime, but also two, Project Playtime, which I did play finally on the channel. If you missed that stream, it's still available.
Welcome to Game Theory, where buttons are gonna light up randomly on screen right now. Press them as fast as you can to play. All right, ready? Green, red, yellow, green, blue, 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 blue. Subscribe? Huh, how'd that get in there? Wait, that's not a button on the screen. Oh, it's below the video. Well, to finish the game, you know what you gotta do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Poppy Playtime, the game that continues to throw us some curveballs. Is Poppy helping us or not? Are these living toys made from orphans or not? Am I getting weird feelings for Mommy Longlegs, or is that just my normal mommy issues cropping up? You know, the usual questions.
Matt Pat, what?
But today's curveball is anything but usual, as Mob Games
Oh, I did forget to say one thing before starting this. The link for the original video will be down below in the description. Show your support by liking the original video.
Decided to surprise us all, not with the drop of Chapter 3, but rather with the reveal of its brand new spin-off title, Project Playtime. A multiplayer survival game where you can literally play as Mom Spaghetti. Eminem would be so proud. In the game, you and your friends act as
That's an actual
resource
outfit?
extraction
That's awesome.
specialists, head into Playtime Code to collect the parts that
I will say, after playing the game once, the game is seriously unbalanced. I feel like they need to tweak it some more.
will allow us to build giant living toys. But things aren't as simple as just playing a bunch of rounds of Simon Says. The whole time you're solving puzzles, you'll be hunted by one of the game's monsters, Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and the newcomer, Boxy Boo. My honest reaction, it's incredibly fun to play. The skins are awesome, the emotes are fun, the puzzles find the right level of difficulty. Overall, the team and I had a blast playing it over on GT Live, even if there were a few bugs that needed to be worked out. As Tom would very quickly come to discover. Is that you? Oh yeah. Hey bud, it is you.
Literally stuck. It is me.
Look at your little army. Oh no, you can still hit me. Oh, don't worry about him though. Tom would make sure he had his revenge in the next round. Uh-oh. No! I have a toy part! Tom! No! I had a toy part!
Come on, Tom!
Tom!
Come on, Tom.
I had a toy part! Boo, Tom! Everyone, let's all collect.
Boo! Everyone boo Tom in the comments.
You know, that just makes them want to kill you even more.
Boo! Like I said, it's a really fun game. But of course, we don't care about whether something is fun or not on this channel. We are here for one thing and one thing only. The lore!
Yep.
And just like with the gameplay, Mob Games delivered big time here. When you first boot up the game, you're thrown into a tutorial which is full of this stuff. Lore drops left and right. And then when you've played the game enough, you'll also unlock a lore-filled VHS tape, which means it's time for us to head back into the cursed toy box, where today I'm about to prove to you that the scariest, most threatening figure pulling the strings in this game may actually have been the hero all along. That's right, folks, it's classic game theory time. The bad guy wasn't the bad guy after all. In Project Playtime's VHS tape, we're introduced to a new character named Harley Sawyer, known simply as the Doctor. Not that kind of
I was about to say, no, don't try to bring in Doctor Who into this.
Doctor. This guy doesn't have himself a box that's bigger on the inside. Instead, he has a plan that involves being bigger on the outside.
Now we're understaffed. Safety protocols are being abandoned. Workplace incidents are common. We need to deal with all of these issues at once. I'm here now with a solution. Giant toys. We can increase our workforce and simultaneously decrease the number of lawsuits and people on our payroll if the people we have working aren't people.
Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and Boxy Boo,
Yeah?
these jumbo-sized living toys, they're all part of this initiative. In Chapter 2, we learned that Mommy Longlegs was used to help supervise the kids playing around in the game station, but I don't think any of us really took the implications of that seriously. These giant toys were actually made with the express purpose of working in the factory, lifting boxes, but
Taking the jobs of others so they don't have to pay actual people and have to worry about them being lawsuit.
patrolling hallways, cleaning toilets. And knowing this, it actually helps the first ever VHS tape we hear in the game make a lot more sense.
So, trespasser, just to make you aware, while we pride ourselves primarily on our high-quality toys and excellent childcare, we also pride ourselves on our security. For example, this facility is full of hidden motion triggers, which, once set off, will turn on the factory's emergency alarms and directly contact the authorities. And
Could be the reason why Huggy was after you.
Aspects of our security system. No spoilers.
He's talking about Huggy. Huggy is literally the factory security. Step aside, Fritz Smith. There's a new night guard in town, and he is tall and blue and fuzzy. For the first time in the series, we have confirmation as to why these toys actually came into being. So the next question is when. As we start to piece together a timeline of events for the factory, it'd be helpful to know when this initiative started. Well, Project Playtime actually gives us a lot of information on that. Boxy Boo's description tells us that he was based on a toy from 1966. Huggy Wuggy's description is similar, telling us that the giant monster was based on a toy created back in 1984. But Mommy Longlegs' description actually works a bit differently. You see, it makes it clear that in her case, the toy didn't come first. Instead, the giant mommy that we saw throughout Chapter 2 was created in 1991 in an effort to use the company's new elastic plastic, and eventually she became, quote, so popular that Playtime Co. created a toy out of her and took it to market. That tells us that the Bigger Bodies initiative had to have started prior to her creation in or before 1991. And considering that she's experiment 1222 and that Huggy was 1170, it had to have been significantly earlier than that, probably around 1990. And that's not all the timeline information that we get here. For more, we turn our attention to the Project Playtime ARG. That's right, Mob Games heard my cries
What
for
the
more
fuck?
interesting clues. I really wanted to do a theory just on these cardboard cutouts, expecting there to be some sort of hidden lore inside the glitchy audio. The perfect place to hide some lore, Mob Games. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So they decided to raise me an entire
Really? Really? Did they actually do that? That's awesome.
ARG. The ARG itself is actually super interesting and really complex. Unfortunately, most of it was teasing the new character for this game, Boxy Boo, and by the time we managed to solve it, the teaser was already out, and the game wasn't that far off either. Plus, the ARG's now been wiped from the internet, so it doesn't really make sense for us to cover it anymore. But if you do want to see the ins and outs of it, which are really cool, I highly recommend watching Sheep Rampage's video series on it. They were covering all the puzzles and solutions as they were happening in real time. So definitely worth a watch. It's a long series, but it's a good series. So boom, just solved your afternoon of entertainment. Today though, we're just gonna be focusing on the details that matter for us moving forward. During the ARG, we heard from a new character.
Still gotta
named
figure out what the hell that
Rowans
hand
Plan, an employee
is.
that was initially concerned about Huggy Wuggy being used to watch children.
Hello, Miss Pierre. I know you don't want to hear any more about this. I get it. Sounds like a bad joke, Huggy Wuggy staring at children. If some creep is hiding nanny cams in our mascot's eyeballs, then it's something that needs to be taken seriously.
The next video we see of him though, he's changed his tune.
I just want to apologize. I was wrong. Nothing weird is going on here at all.
Clearly, he figured out that something more sinister was going on, and that the living Huggy security system was a feature, not a bug. In that video, he tries to throw everyone off the scent that he knows anything.
I'm not looking into it anymore. And I mean, not that there was anything to look into in the first place.
Smooth, Rowan. Very smooth. Clearly, Playtime's aware that he knows too much and wants to silence him. But Rowan hatches a plan.
I think I'm gonna die. I had to pretend I'd seen nothing so the company would leave me alone. I've scheduled the company's the servers, the security to be shut down for 60 minutes of maintenance. While security is out, I'm gonna release everything and run. I think they're gonna kill me first.
And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. Rowan goes down into the basement and stands face to face with Boxy Boo, who does what toys do best, eats him alive. Notice the dates on all of his videos though, 1991.
Okay, I didn't know all this was going down. Where are these videos coming from? Like, is this inside, like, I guess that ARG thing that he was talking about? What the fuck?
So, for Rowan to have seen a giant Huggy watching children and then get eaten by a giant Boxy Boo, it means the Bigger Bodies program was up and operational by March 30th, 1991. We can also add to the timeline when Project Playtime itself takes place. In Project Playtime, one of the toys that we're tasked with assembling is a large-scale boogie bot, based on the game's NFTs. We know that the toy BoogieBot was made in 1993, meaning the company had to still be functional as a toy factory at least until then. Considering that this was their last major toy made though, we can assume that the place shut down shortly thereafter. We hear this event happening in Chapter 1 when the toys begin their rampage.
Today's events are no doubt in relation to him.
Most likely then, Project Playtime takes place sometime in the decade prior to Chapter 1, the time after everyone went missing, but before we return to the toy factory to explore its mysteries.
That's kind of how I felt from the trailers.
To go into the factory on their behalf to allow him to continue the bigger.
And I still say this: they got to update Project Playtime every couple months. When it comes to maps, when it comes to monsters and playability, they had to keep it updated regularly so that people don't lose interest. It's a good concept. It's a good game. It still needs some fixes, tweaks, and balancing issues, but balancing issues as in they need to be fixed. And yeah, it's a solid game.
Bodies initiative, despite the monsters that are now roaming the hallways freely. But what's interesting is that up until now, we've assumed that these monsters are being driven purely by their hunger, but Project Playtime reveals that that's not the case.
They are trying to build more toys, more like you. It has to be stopped.
This mysterious voice is talking to Huggy, and presumably the other giant toys throughout the factory, getting them to work together in order to feed themselves, but also to stop those who are trying to make the Bigger Bodies initiative a success. Whoever this mysterious voice is, they do not want more monsters to be created, but
this could be the voice of the one with the claw hand thing that took Mommy Longlegs.
Who could it possibly be? Fortunately, I didn't have long to wait for an answer because during my playthrough on GT Live, I got a loading screen that told me exactly who it was. I got a loading screen.
Which one did you get?
I got Mommy Longlegs being puppeteered by 1006.
That's the one. Yeah, mine is Huggy just chasing people, so you definitely got the interesting one. You got the lore there.
I got the lore, see? Experiment
the lore!
1006 has been one of the franchise's biggest mysteries. Each installment reveals a little bit more about him. The first chapter showed us that he was a prototype to all these toy experiments, that he had a digestive tract but didn't require food to survive. The second chapter revealed him to be incredibly intelligent, tampering with cameras and alarm clocks in order to sabotage the scientists doing experiments.
All right, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I do have dinner with me. I've been letting it cool down. It was very, very warm spaghetti. So if I take a couple bites every so often, I do apologize, but I'm going to enjoy watching this and eat a little bit of food on the side.
On him. He even showed up at the end of Chapter 2 to drag a lifeless Mommy Longlegs away. But his end goal, his motivation, has largely been a mystery. Thanks to this tutorial, though, we now know what he wants. He's trying to stop the experiments. He's trying to stop people being used to make these toys. That's why he helped to release all the giant toys before the events of Project Playtime.
Though still missing, today's events are no doubt in relation to him. His absence was a flaw in the scientific process.
The giant toys are organized. They're working together. And it's because this one creation is able to psychically talk to them all. Again, this gives more clarity to something that we heard back in Chapter 1.
Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill set.
And
but my thing about it is what Mommy Longlegs says at the end of the Chapter 2 when she doesn't want to be part of him. and she's fearful that she doesn't care about dying. She cares about the fact that after she dies, he's going to make her part of him. That statement there makes me feel like there's a little bit of something else still we do not understand.
Toys to be made, he is taking care of all the monsters that already exist.
The others are hungry. The others are starving. Get up.
He's keeping them fed, he's keeping them alive, and most importantly, he's keeping them safe. These people didn't ask to be turned into toys. This isn't what they wanted. And while 1006 can't fix them, he can keep them alive. He has good intentions. Even though he's got himself a scary voice and a creepy metal claw hand, I think he's the good guy. He might actually be the hero of this story. And his heroism isn't just limited to protecting the monsters. We know based on documents from Chapter 2 that he's also actively trying to save kids. One thing everyone put together fairly quickly after Chapter 2's release was the fact that Playtime Co. seemed to be testing children in order to put them into the perfect toy. Specifically, we see 2 documents outlining the performance of Michaela Hyssop as the researchers try to pair this girl with Candy Cats. But one of the things that all of us overlooked was how these performance assessments ended. Neither document is finished. Both of them trail off as the pen scribbles off the page. What's more, there's blood on the paper. It suggests that not just once, but twice, researchers were killed while testing Michaela. And Michaela actually sees it coming. At the end of both the documents, while undergoing the statues game, we read that Michaela is distracted by something else. Presumably, this is the giant monster that's coming to kill the researchers.
Oh,
this tells
wow.
us an important detail. The prototype is saving these kids as many times as it takes. Whether it was Mommy Longlegs coming in to kill the researchers or the prototype himself, we know that the prototype's behind it because he's the one puppeteering all the big monsters. And he has repeatedly stepped in to save the kids. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a good guy to me. And he's not only using the other monsters to save the kids, he's also using us. Remember that line I just showed you from the monster tutorial?
The others are hungry. The others are starving. Get up.
Those last 2 words, don't they seem familiar? Yep, the death messages from both chapters almost always end with those exact words, get up, which then results in us respawning. Up until now, we've been under the impression that 2 people have been speaking to us through these death screens. The lowercase words that are far more motivating, like we're almost there, or it's not over, being from Poppy, trying to get us to find her at the end of every chapter. And the second, uppercase words like innovation is key, thank you science, or he's loose, this is an emergency lockdown, being from either Elliot Ludwig or a scientist that was working on the project. But now, I don't think that's the case. Yes, there are 2 tones of messages, but almost all of them end with the exact same 2 words, get up. I think this is experiment 1006 trying to communicate with us. More lives are at risk than just yours. He's trying to get us to help the trapped souls inside the factory, the ones that he himself has spent so long protecting. Why is it speaking to us in 2 different voices? Simple reason could be that some of his lines are just him repeating back all the things he heard when he was first created. The prototype has saved us, isn't he wonderful? But there's actually another explanation. Think back to the end of Chapter 2.
What have you done? You make me part of you!
Mommy screams
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking already.
for her life, terrified of being a part of 1006, who drags her lifeless corpse away shortly thereafter. Broken toys end up being combined into the prototype, so maybe it's a way for him to keep the toys and the spirits inside of those toys alive. That would mean that 1006 now has multiple voices inside of him. The voices of all those toys that have perished and are now incorporated into his being. All of them trying to communicate with us at once. This, I suspect, is what we're also seeing in the new VHS tape of Project Playtime. It starts off as normal text, but then switches to capital letters. Again, 2 very different tones present here. Near the end, we see the line, "The bigger bodies initiative will fail," which not only lines up with the motivations for 1006 that we've just discussed, but it also matches the exact words on the game's Steam page, except over there, it's written in a glitchy text. Now, while glitchy text doesn't necessarily prove that it's 1006, we have seen those death screens in the past use codes and corrupted text before. And a robotic monster trying to communicate in every way possible, ending up with text that appears glitchy, fits pretty nicely. Plus, there are also some frame-perfect messages in there that appear in the static of the VHS. One that says, "Save us," and another that says, "A pawn and a sacrifice." Again, hidden messages, other voices, all trying to break through. But while I'm certainly excited to see what the prototype pulls out for us in future updates and what his role in the story is going to be going forward, there's still one major question here. Who is 1006? All the giant toys that we've met thus far have been made from people. Mommy Longlegs even got a name, Marie Payne. So if 1006 is the prototype, the one
I don't remember that ever being discussed about her original name. I did not know that. That's actually cool.
Experiment that paved the way for all the others, then surely he too has to be made from someone. In our previous theories, we came to the conclusion that orphans were being used to create these monsters. They were tested in the game station, and if they were considered fit for purpose, they would get on the train and be sent to play care, where they'd be experimented on and eventually turned into toys. So was Experiment 1006 just an orphan? A random child that's now after revenge? A vengeful spirit, if you will? As much as I'd love to dunk on Poppy for riffing on another piece of FNAF lore, I don't actually think that's the case here. 1006 is incredibly intelligent, able to take control of the other toys, manipulate and trick the scientists in the toy factory, while later experiments like Huggy were described as obedient. These later experiments were made from children who could be trained and molded into what they needed to be, but the prototype was different. He was an adult, one we've gotten to know a lot about in recent chapters. I propose that 1006 is none other than the founder of the company, Elliot Ludwig. Now, I'm not the first theorist to suggest this. Ever since the release of Chapter 2, it's actually been a fairly common theory. However, I really feel like now we have the evidence to hammer this one home. We know that Elliot Ludwig suffered
the biggest difference between a lot of the theories about him being basically the creature that grabs Mommy Longlegs, though, is he's evil. This one, if this is the case, it's more like he's trying to take back what he did, in a sense.
Tragic loss in his family in the 1960s, presumably his daughter, who would then go on to be remade in Poppy. And throughout the game thus far, Elliot is always described as a family man at heart, and he's always giving credit for his business to the children. Now, call me cynical, and maybe I've played just one too many indie horror games at this point, but I see stuff like that, and I immediately think, oh, this guy's shady. He's clearly killing the kids. But nothing he ever says or does is outright evil, or mean to children in any way. Instead, it's trying to benefit children. Throughout the toy factory, we see posters pushing employees to adopt and foster orphan children. And while again, my knee-jerk reaction is this guy is clearly using these orphan kids to make living toys, I don't think it started that way. If it did, he wouldn't be outright encouraging employees to adopt and foster children like we see in the posters. That would be taking test subjects, potential living toys, away from the factory. No, I believe that Elliot did indeed have the best interests of the kids at heart. It was this new character, the Doctor, who took things in a dark direction, and he was able to do it because Elliot was out of the picture. During the ARG leading up to Project Playtime, clue hunters found this memorandum from Rowan Stoll reminding employees about the need to keep quiet about confidential information. But in it, we get this line, quote, "Nobody cares about your safety and security more than us. And as our great founder Elliot Ludwig always said, Playtime Co. is my family, and family looks after one another." Notice the tense that the letter uses. It's past tense. He is out of the picture by the time the whole Bigger Bodies initiative gets into full swing. So where did he go? In Chapter 2, there's a note on Elliot's desk about using poppy gel to bring dead rats back to life. That note is labeled Experiment 814, almost 200 experiments prior to the prototype. Why would such an old note be sitting on his desk? We know at least another 400 experiments took place after this one. Surely memos about those later experiments would be at the top of the pile, but no, we find this old note. A note that, at the very end, mentions using larger subjects for the test. I think Elliot realized what was being proposed here and tried to shut the entire operation down. However, Harley, the Doctor, was determined.
My name is Harley Sawyer. I'm called the Doctor. When I look at this company we've built,
just based off the fucking voice, he's evil.
I do not feel proud. Declining profits.
He's got that mad scientist sounding voice.
Failed experiments.
He specifically calls out failed experiments. When Harley takes control, the experiments haven't been successful yet, just like we see with the rats and the poppy flowers. And so when Elliot stood in his way, there was only one thing to do. Use him as your guinea pig. That's why that was the last note on Elliot's desk. He never returned to the office. Harley could just lock the door and no one would be any wiser. And so Elliot became the first. He became the prototype. Now it was up to him to protect all those that he failed to protect as a human. Both the
I wouldn't mind this actually being the case when it comes to the story. This is not bad.
Employees that
it is different. It is not the same generic head honcho CEO, secretly evil, corrupted, doesn't give a fuck, and trying to just make a profit kind of situation.
That are being turned into monsters, and the children who are in the process
Does have still sad backstory about his daughter, but
being tested, and he's doing everything he can to stop it, killing researchers that are testing kids, preventing more toys from being built in Project Playtime, and sending us a note to bring us back to the toy factory to investigate, and then continuing to encourage us to get up when we fail. But clearly his mission is incomplete, and Poppy appears to be the final solution. There's a reason that Mommy captured her again in Chapter 2. Remember, she's following 1006's orders. I suspect that he needs to be reunited with his daughter in some way for his mission to be complete.
But I'm wondering what happened with Poppy in a sense. I'm wondering if she is under the Doctor's control in some way.
Not exactly sure yet. Maybe it's just a creepy toy family reunion. But whatever it is, I bet we're gonna find out more in Chapter 3. You know, provided the new game Project Playtime doesn't make so much money that Mob Games suddenly pulls a Fortnite and stops pursuing the single-player campaign.
That would fucking suck.
Never happen, right? In the meantime, friends, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
That was a good one. I actually have to agree with a lot of the ideas with this one, and I wouldn't mind that being the case. And please do not just abandon the single player. Honestly, I still feel like the single player is going to be way more profitable. Not okay, maybe not profitable, but way more enticing for the fan base because they want to know the story and the lore, and more needs to come out from the game. So I agree, and hopefully that doesn't be the case, but I want more when it comes to the actual story because I'm actually invested now. I'm interested, and both chapters were good in their own way. There were improvements from Chapter 1 to Chapter 2, and I'm hoping there's even more improvements. And when it comes to story and lore, we get more out of it, and hopefully chapters start coming out more regularly. I'm hoping that we can get Chapter 3 no later than second month of the new year. Hopefully around then, between the second and third month of the new year, kind of around then, hopefully. Crossing my fingers, hopefully by then. But anyways, if you guys have more suggestions, more lore, more theories, all that stuff you guys want me to check out, comment down below. Or in general, just videos you want me to see, then comment down below, post them in the reaction idea section on my Discord. I'll see you guys around until the next time. Later!
This is the Prince of the motherfucking Saiyans, and I am ordering you to subscribe to Steven Z. Killer!